October 6, 2014, from FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. It was the Seattle Seahawks at the Washington Redskins on Monday Night Football. Seattle had the ball first. They started off on their own 35. They made short work of the field as they went 65 yards in just 6 plays in about 2 minutes, capped off by a 15-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson to Jermaine Kearse to put the Seahawks up 7-0. So now with about a little less than 13 minutes left in the first quarter, the Redskins got the ball for the first time in this game, and they start off on their own 20. They would eat up a little bit of time, but they would end up punting after reaching close to midfield as their drive would stall on their own 45. So now the Seahawks got the ball with just over 8 minutes left in the first, and they would end up punting on this drive just as had the Redskins. So the Seahawks punted the ball back to the Redskins with about 4.5 minutes left in the first quarter. The Redskins would go 3 and out as they punted it right back to the Seahawks with a little less than 3 minutes left in the first. And the Seahawks now had the ball on their own 43. They ended up bringing the ball across midfield on first down. Marshawn Lynch ran for 17 yards to bring it to the Washington 40. Then a few plays later, the first quarter would come to a close as Russell Wilson was sacked on 3rd and 9 for a 7-yard loss by Kerrigan. So after one, it was 7-0 Seahawks over Redskins. So now to begin the second quarter, the Seahawks went up punting the ball, and the Redskins would now have it on their own 10-yard line as they were backed up against their own end zone. The Redskins would go 3 and out, so now the Seahawks took over on their own 47-yard line. They would cross midfield as Russell Wilson hit Doug Baldwin for a 20-yard pass on first down. So now they had it on the Washington 33, and then they ended up making it to the red zone. It was 1st and 10 from the 19, and Marshawn Lynch ran for 3 yards. Then on 2nd and 7 from the 16, Percy Harvin ran for a 16-yard touchdown, but it was nullified because of a penalty of offensive holding. That would be the first of many times that would happen to Percy Harvin in this game. Matter of fact, on the very next play, Russell Wilson hit Percy Harvin for a 26-yard touchdown pass, and that one was nullified as well. This one because of a false start. So 2 touchdowns by Percy Harvin were called back on back-to-back plays. The Seahawks would end up having to settle for a 40-yard field goal as Hauschka came on, and he kicked it to give the Seahawks a 10-0 lead over Washington. So now the Redskins had the ball with about 9 minutes left in the first half, and they would go 3 and out yet again. And so the Seahawks had the ball with about 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter, and they had it on their own 30-yard line. And then just 4 plays later, Russell Wilson ended up hitting Helfet for a 36-yard pass that made it 1st and goal on the 9, and then Russell Wilson ran it into the end zone for a 9-yard touchdown run, and it was now 17-0 Seahawks. So now with about 4.5 minutes left before halftime, the Redskins took over on their own 20-yard line, but then on 2nd and 6 from their own 40, as they had picked up a first down, Kirk Cousins hit DeSean Jackson for a 60-yard touchdown that put the Redskins on the board as they now trail by 10 with the score 17-7, Seattle over Washington. The Seahawks now took over with about 2.5 minutes left in the second quarter, and they went 3 and out and punted the ball back to the Redskins, who would also punt. And so the Seahawks got the ball back before halftime with a little less than a minute on the clock. They weren't able to get anything going, and so we went to halftime with the score 17-7, Seattle over Washington. The Redskins had the ball to begin the third quarter, and they started out on their own 20. They made it into field goal range all the way into the red zone, into the Seattle 9-yard line, but their drive stalled, and so they would have to settle for a 27-yard field goal by Forbath that made the score 17-10 as the Redskins were now within a touchdown of the Seahawks. So now the Seahawks got the ball with a little less than 11 minutes left in the third quarter, and they went 3 and out and punted the ball to the Redskins, who also would go 3 and out as they punted the ball back to the Seattle Seahawks, who then went 3 and out for the second consecutive drive. And the Redskins now had the ball, and they wouldn't go 3 and out as they did pick up a first down, but their drive would only last 4 plays before they punted the ball back to the Seahawks, who went 3 and out for a third consecutive drive. And now the Washington Redskins had the ball with less than 30 seconds left in the third quarter, and they were backed up against their own end zone on their own 9-yard line. Alfred Morris ran for 3 yards and brought the third quarter to a close. So after 3, the score was 17-10, Seattle over Washington. So opening up the fourth quarter, the Redskins had the ball on their own 12-yard line, and a couple plays later, they would end up having a punt as they went 3 and out on this possession. So Seattle Seahawks had the ball on their own 47 with about 14 minutes left in this game. And a few plays later, it was 3rd and 3 from the Washington 46. But then a defensive holding penalty made it first down. And then Russell Wilson dropped back to pass, and he hit Percy Harvin for a 41-yard touchdown. But then it was nullified for the third time in this game. Percy Harvin had a touchdown taken away from him because of a penalty of unnecessary roughness. So now the Seahawks had the ball back in their own territory for 1st and 25 on their own 44. They picked up 5 yards on a scramble from Wilson, and then Wilson hit Wilson for 19 yards. So it was Wilson with 1 L and Wilson with 2 L's as Russell threw it over there to Luke. So now it was 3rd and 1 from the Washington 32, and Wilson hit Marshawn Lynch, and he got no gain, and that brought up 4th down, and so we saw the field goal unit come out, and it was a fake field goal. It's John Ryan ended up running for the first down. He was there holding the ball, and he picked it up and he ran it for the first down, which brought it to the Washington 27, and then Russell Wilson ended up picking up 12 yards on first down to bring the ball all the way to the Washington 15. And it was 1st and 10 on the Washington 15, and Russell Wilson scrambled for 6 yards to bring up 2nd and 4 from the 9, and then Turbin picked up 3 yards, and it was 3rd and 1 from the 6, and Marshawn Lynch picked up the first down, so it was 1st and goal on the 5, but a delay of the game would make it 1st and goal on the 10, and then after a 1-yard run by Turbin, it was 2nd and 9 from the 9, and Russell Wilson found Marshawn Lynch for a 9-yard touchdown pass to make it 24-10, as the Seahawks were now up by 2 touchdowns over the Redskins. So now the Redskins got the ball with about 6.5 minutes left in this game. They had it on their own 20, and they marched down the field across midfield and into field goal range. And on 2nd and 10 from the 37, Cousins found Helu for a 22-yard pass. That made it 1st and 10 on the 15. Then Cousins hit Jackson for a 9-yard pass. So now it was 2nd and 1 on the Seattle 6, and that's when Cousins hit Roberts for a 6-yard touchdown pass that made the score 24-7, as the Redskins were now within a touchdown of the Seahawks. So now the Seahawks had the ball with about 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they had it on their own 20. And then Marshawn Lynch ran for 9 yards, but there was a face mask penalty. And so because of the face mask, it would now be 1st down on the Seattle 44, so they're up near midfield. And then Marshawn Lynch ran for 3 yards on 2 consecutive plays, and the Redskins called their second timeout, so now it was 3rd and 4 on the 50, and Russell Wilson hit Marshawn Lynch for a 30-yard pass. It was quite the amazing play. You got to check out the highlights on NFL.com. Russell Wilson was scrambling around with shades of Roger Staubach or Randall Cunningham, and he found Marshawn Lynch, who made the heads-up play to stay active and open, and then he ended up getting 30 yards out of it. So then we had the 2-minute warning, and it was 1st down on the Washington 24, the Redskins, and they would just pound the ball with Marshawn Lynch, and the Redskins were forced to burn their 3rd timeout. Russell Wilson was sacked for an 8-yard loss on 3rd and 7, and then Hauschka came in to kick a 43-yard field goal to make it 27-17, as the Seahawks were now up by 10 points with less than 30 seconds left in this game, and the Redskins got the ball back for one last play. Cousins hit Pierre Garçon for an 18-yard pass, and the game came to a close as the Seattle Seahawks improved their record to 3-1 with a 10-point victory over the Redskins with a final score 27-17, as the Redskins now fall to 1-4 on the season. And in this game, Russell Wilson was 18 for 24 with 201 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He also was the game's leading rusher with 122 yards off 11 carries for 1 touchdown. So Russell Wilson made history in this game. He was the most rushing yards for a quarterback in Monday Night Football history. So in the history of all Monday Night, no quarterback has ever rushed for as many yards as Russell Wilson did tonight here in Week 5. And he also joined a handful of quarterbacks to be one of a few quarterbacks to throw for over 200 yards and throw at least one passing touchdown and rush for over 100 yards and rush for at least one rushing touchdown. It's like I said, only a handful of other quarterbacks have ever done that in the history of the NFL. So a huge game for Russell Wilson. Kirk Cousins was 21 for 36 with 283 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. He also rushed for 4 yards off of 2 carries. Marshawn Lynch had 72 yards off of 17 carries. And the leading receiver in this game was DeSean Jackson with 157 yards off of 5 receptions, one of which was for a touchdown. And on defense, Riley led all defenders with 10 tackles, and that was for the Redskins. Wagner led the Seahawks with 8 tackles. He also had a sack and 3 tackles for loss. There were no interceptions in this game as both quarterbacks protected the ball pretty well. Overall, the defense of the Redskins actually had 3 sacks versus the 1 sack for the Seahawks, and those 3 sacks were for Merriweather, Kearse, and Kerrigan. So the Redskins actually competed in this game with the defending Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. But the Seahawks come up huge. Of course, this game could have been a much, more of a blowout if they had counted those, touchdowns by Percy Harvin that they had called back. So it could have been, the score was kind of deceiving, but the final score was 27-17 Seahawks